The Western Cape Veterinary Services has confirmed the detection of avian influenza at 2 commercial poultry farms in the province. Provincial Agricultural Minister Meyer says the exact strain involved is still unknown at this stage. About 120,000 birds have so far died since the outbreak that was confirmed last week. There is currently no vaccine or treatment, and as a result, current practice requires culling infected birds as quickly as possible to limit the spread of the disease. Meyer says although the risk of avian flu being transmitted to humans remains low, it is advised that members of the public avoid touching dead birds. And of course, to talk more on this issue now, we are now joined by Jannie Strydom, who is the Chief Executive Officer for AgriSA in the Western Cape. Jannie, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. If you can just let our viewers know, what do we know so far about avian flu?
Yeah, good evening, Mbali, and good evening to the viewers. At this stage, we are quite concerned about the impact. Our information indicates that around about 900,000 birds were already died or had to be put down. So yeah, it's an enormous impact, and especially with our layers, because around about 800,000 eggs are not being produced per day with regards to those birds that had to be put down or died because of the bird flu. So quite a substantial impact at this stage.
And has this only been detected in the Western Cape?
As far as we know at this stage, yeah, and specifically in the Cape Winelands district area, more specifically the Drakensberg area, and even more specifically the Paul and the Paardeberg area. And like I said, around about 900,000 birds, and the value of those birds amounts to around about 25+ million rand, and that's excluding the production value in terms of eggs.
Speaking specifically on the impact, what are farmers saying who have been affected by this sort of bird flu? And of course, one would say that it really does have a severe impact when it comes to businesses.
Yeah, I mean, the normal supply and demand, the impact thereof, so we can expect egg prices to increase. And I think farmers at this stage, as you said in the introduction, are looking forward to, and we need to have discussions with government regarding vaccination or vaccines. I know there are challenges by vaccinating these birds, because if one does it, everybody's got to do it. And there are challenges regarding that, but I think we should really now look to measures to prevent this happening again, because this is not the first time. And I mean, the impact on the market is severe, and financially on those specific businesses. I mean, it's substantial amount of money, and with the current cost squeeze effect in agriculture as a whole, in all the various enterprises, and the farmers can't accommodate it at this stage. So, we're really concerned about the financial impact.
And perhaps if we can take a step back, Jannie, do we know how this all started?
Well, that's a difficult question, but what we know is the spreading of it, it takes place, or it comes from wild birds, as they say, and more specifically seabirds. That's what we've been told as well. Where this specifically started, I'm not sure at this stage, and we don't have that information, but normally it's been spread by wild birds, and specifically seabirds, yeah.
And at the moment, if you could just share with our viewers, what is being currently done to contain it? I do understand that there is the issue of putting the birds down, but what more is being done by the industry, especially those farmers who have been affected by this disease?
Yeah, no, you're right. The only way at this stage is putting down the birds, and yeah, that's unfortunate. But I think ramping up biosecurity measures on the farm with dips in terms of shoes and vehicles that comes into the farm. One would recommend that you limit farmers limit the access to the farms by outside vehicles and people that doesn't work on the farm, just to limit the spread of it. And yeah, that's the measures that can be done at this stage. So increasing your biosecurity measures will definitely help. But unfortunately, once it's in, then yeah, the spreading of it, it's quite severe, and those birds, well, unfortunately, will have to be taken down.
And at this stage, is it still clear whether this can actually affect human beings? Because you would always know that sometimes it can start from, the poultry industry and then can affect human beings. What do we know so far in terms of the infection rate for humans?
Yeah, I think like Minister Meyer also stated, Mbali, it's not well known, the spreading of it to human beings at this stage. And according to our information now is, there's no risk for humans at this stage. It's just on the farm and in terms of the birds at this stage.
You have mentioned that there are challenges in terms of also containing this. What would you say this industry currently needs to actually get help and to actually contain this disease from spreading even further to other provinces?
Yeah, well, I think the first step is to obtain a vaccine. And then get the buy-in from everybody in the industry to vaccinate and use that vaccine. Like I said, there's no sense in doing it on one farm, and then it still can be spread. So yeah, it's government support in terms of the vaccine and obtaining that vaccine. And then also, yeah, the buying from the industry, then for everybody, all the farmers to use it. Fortunately, at this stage, your broilers are not that much affected. It's mostly the layers with a specific in the specific area, and your breeders, given the high biosecurity levels on those farms at this stage, are still not that much affected by this. But so yeah, I would say firstly getting a vaccine, getting the buying from the industry, and then just ramping up your biosecurity measures on the farm.
And you speak a lot about this vaccine, Jannie. When it comes to scientists, what is their reception in terms of trying to find a vaccine? Because we currently know that there is no vaccine and there is no treatment. So what is the reception like coming out from scientists in trying to find a vaccine, to curb this disease?
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot answer you on that one, Mbali, because I didn't have any discussions with scientists. But what our plan is definitely earliest next week to engage with our veterinary services in our province and also get their input and then take it from there. But it's a contentious topic, but I think one needs to prevent this from, or as far as possible, for happening in the future again, because the recurring of this disease, like I said in the beginning, it's a huge substantial financial impact to these businesses. And I mean, it impacts not only the financials, but I mean, one needs to understand that there's a lot of people working also on these farms. And it impacts the livelihood of numerous people at this stage.
And Jannie, what would be your advice, to farmers who have been affected by this disease, and also to South Africans at large?
Well, the best one can do at this stage is once it's detected on your farm, is to take down the birds. Unfortunately, And then, ramp up your biosecurity measures. And I would go so far as to have the farms. If I was a farmer and it was on my property, I would put the same measures as we had in the lockdown with the COVID, and just prevent unauthorized or people from outside, the vehicles from outside the farm entering the property, and just trying to contain what is happening on that farm. So that would be my recommendation at this stage.
All right, then. Thank you very much. That is indeed Jannie Strydom. He is from AgriSA in the Western Cape, and he is the CEO, just giving us a bit of insight there in terms of that disease that has so far just affected farmers in the Western Cape.